Every NBA season, players rise up and elevate their play seemingly out of nowhere, and they're always relatively positive stories of hard work, triumph, and determination to make it in a league as competitive as the NBA is. Players that weren't promised anything and came from being undrafted can still establish themselves as prominent players. The road to doing so is just a lot more difficult, and nobody embodies this more than Christian Wood of the Houston Rockets. Christian Wood has, to put it simply, been through the ringer, and despite year after year doing everything he needs to do to be given a chance at this level by outperforming his peers, it took several years of being counted out to get to where he is now. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you would know that I've made not one, but two videos about Christian Wood's journey in the past already, with the first one coming back in 2018, and the second one coming early of last year, both of which being before his major breakout, and in those videos I discussed how I saw tremendous promise in him despite how often he got overlooked. Fast forward to now, and I feel fully vindicated for my years of belief in a player like him, which inspired me to make another video discussing his growth. Christian Wood has been absolutely tearing it up early on this season with the Houston Rockets, so for today's video, we'll run through a brief refresher on what he went through to get to this point, why he was continuously overlooked, and why, in spite of all of it, he was always destined to break out and produce like he is now. Before we get started though, it turns out about 68% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting the brief refresher back at the very beginning of his journey, back in high school, Wood was always a skinny player, and it wasn't until he hit his growth spurt in his second year of high school, where he shot up all the way to being 6 foot 10 inches tall with a 7 foot 3 inch wingspan, that he started to get taken seriously as a prospect. He transferred around a few times in high school, trying to find the right program that fit him the best, but he finished his high school career playing for Findlay Prep, a program that has actually produced countless NBA players over the years, which definitely helped boost himself even more. By the end of his senior year, he was actually regarded pretty highly, finishing as a top 100 recruit in the class of 2013, and even ranked as high as 36th overall by Rivals.com. He committed to play for UNLV in college, where he slowly integrated to the Division I level. His freshman season saw him in a moderate bench role, still getting used to the level of play, but in his second season, he really emerged as a highly dynamic player at the center position. In his second year at UNLV, he posted averages of 15.7 points, 10 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks per game, and what made him so impactful was the fact that he could play both inside and out. He was very comfortable with the ball in his hands, attacking off the dribble as well. He had great touch in the post. He's very quick and agile for a center, which created a ton of mismatches, and overall, he was a productive two-way player. Because of this, he declared for the NBA draft in 2015, fully expecting to hear his name get called on draft night, but unfortunately, he came into the league barely at the wrong time, as people with his skill set have not begun to be truly appreciated to their fullest until recent years. And on top of that, there were concerns about how skinny he was and whether or not he could handle the physicality of the NBA. His pre-draft workouts did all go well though. He reportedly received tons of positive feedback from scouts and agents after the workouts he had with teams, and he thought he would hear his name called as early as the first round. But on draft night, when it finally came around, it quickly turned into a nightmare. The first round came and went, and as name after name began to be called in the second round, it hit him that there was a chance he was about to go undrafted. He's spoken about this being the lowest part of his life, and to add insult to injury, even his girlfriend left him shortly after that was announced, and while this kind of disappointment would break some people, it just was motivation for him to continue to work hard and push himself no matter how long it took. His first stop came with the Philadelphia 76ers, who, if you remember back in 2015 and 2016, they were still in the middle of that infamous process era. In theory, you would have thought that a team focused on rebuilding and uncovering hidden gems would be the perfect spot for a guy like him to show what he could do, right? Well, unfortunately, the center position was one of the few areas filled with actual talent on that team, as Wood found himself behind guys like Nerlens Noel, Jahlil Okafor, and even Richaun Holmes on the depth chart, and he spent most of his time down in the G League. Now, throughout almost every stop, you have to keep in mind that he spent almost all of his time down in the G League in all of those years, and in those games that he played in the G League, he was consistently dominant, which is why he kept getting new opportunities year after year, and you can even see for yourself the impressive numbers he was putting up while down there over the years on your screen now. On top of that, he was also consistently a Summer League standout, having been named to the All-Summer League first team to add to that resume once in that span, which I realize isn't always the perfect sign of a solid player, but the Summer League is made up of young guys, all in positions where they're fighting for a spot in the NBA, and Wood was consistently the best of the best in this crop of players, so the fact that it took so long for a team to take a chance on him was kind of maddening. After getting waived by the 76ers, he got picked up by the Charlotte Hornets in 2017, where he once again barely ever got playing time. Following that season, he got picked up by the Milwaukee Bucks, where once again, he was sat at the end of the bench. The Bucks released him during the 2019 season, which resulted in him getting added by the New Orleans Pelicans for the remainder of that year, and it was actually here where he was finally given his first real chance. The team's season was pretty much over when Wood came in, so they were giving guys a shot at the end of the bench for playing time that they otherwise wouldn't have had, and in Wood's 8 games in New Orleans, he took full advantage of this opportunity and put up 17 points and 8 rebounds per game over the 8 games he played with them, proving he could produce if given the opportunity. That summer, he was brought in by the Detroit Pistons, which was his first opportunity in his career to actually carve out a real role on a team, but even then, the opportunity wasn't guaranteed. In training camp before the season started, the Pistons brought in fan favorite veteran Joe Johnson, and it was either going to be him or Christian Wood getting the final roster spot, and in a surprise to many, Wood beat out Joe Johnson for that final spot. From there, he became the team's backup center, giving them steady production backing up franchise player Andre Drummond, but after their season started to go down a disappointing path, the team made a decision that would set Wood up for everything that was about to come his way. Before the trade deadline, the Pistons traded away Andre Drummond to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which in turn moved Wood into the team's starting lineup. From that point forward until the end of the season, Wood's production skyrocketed, and he put everything he had in his bag on display. He averaged 23 points, 10 rebounds, and a block per game while shooting the ball 56% from the field and 40% from 3, which quite frankly is just absurd production and efficiency. Yes, it was a small sample size of just about over 20 games, but with him once again entering free agency this offseason, he finally pushed himself to the point where he was a highly sought-after free agent. This is when the Houston Rockets signed him, which brings us to the present day. We all know the Rockets have been dealing with a lot of turmoil and contention with their franchise player James Harden wanting out. However, the addition of Wood very well might just save that relationship, because as I said in a previous video a few weeks ago, Wood is literally the perfect fit alongside James Harden. What makes Christian Wood so good at the center position is the fact that he is simply one of the best pick-and-roll big men in the entire NBA right now. He's bulked up a bit, allowing himself to finish strong at the rim when he gets close. He's a superb athlete that has the speed and agility to make life hell for opposing defenders, and all of this is perfect alongside arguably the best pick-and-roll guard in the league, like James Harden is. Last year in Detroit, he was running pick and rolls with Derrick Rose, and outside of him, it was a bunch of incompetence in the backcourt, and Wood still ranked in the 95th percentile in the league as the pick and roll man. This year, he gets one of the best playmakers in the league and a player in John Wall whose playmaking and creativity will set him up for a ton of easy looks. Wood has played 3 games with the Rockets so far, and in those games, he's scored over 20 points in all 3 of them, and over 30 points in his debut, and he's showing exactly why I've been so high on him for so long. After everything Wood has been through to get to this point, he's about to start breaking out in a big way, and if he keeps it up, he's about to win the league's Most Improved Player award for this season. He's a perfect example of why you don't give up when the going gets tough, and he deserves everything that's about to come his way this year and in the future. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how good you think Christian Wood can be for the Rockets this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.